What? I had a dream about the ocean. I was somewhere lost at sea when I heard somebody calling, come to me. I assumed it must be Neptune luring me into the deep, when I woke to hear my own voice calling from my sleep, from my sleep. I'm sailing away, set an open course for the virgin sea, 'cause I've got to be free, free to face the life that's ahead of me. On board I'm the captain, so climb aboard. We'll search for tomorrow on every shore, and I'll try, oh Lord, I'll try to carry on. I look to the sea, reflections in the waves spark my memory. Some happy, some sad. Oh, I think of childhood friends and the dreams we had. We lived happily forever, so the story goes. But somehow we missed out on the pot of gold. But we'll try best that we can to carry on. A gathering of angels appeared above my head. They sang to me this song of hope, and this is what they said. They said, come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me. Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me. You sing it now. Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me. Let it out, Lisa. Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, and I thought that they were angels, but to my surprise, we climbed aboard their starship. We headed for the sky, singing, "Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me. Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me." Sing it again. Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me. Nice. Come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me. Come and sail away with me.
Everybody, welcome to Piano Live on the piano bench or stool. Today, we are so lucky to have Gowan,
Yeah.
a real life rock star, and I mean,
And cartoon character.
and actual cartoon character. That's for real. So, not only has Gowan had an incredibly successful career as a solo artist, multi-platinum records, multiple Juno awards, he's also been touring as a vocalist and keyboard player for Styx for the past 25 years.
Yep. The year 25 begins this month.
Oh my gosh. And he's here today. So it's gonna be a really, 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 really fun show. And I mean, we just had a Styx song, and we're gonna do lots of playing today. We're gonna do a giveaway. We're gonna have some fun. There will be shenanigans. But tell us a little bit about your journey. We've got a lot of Gowan fans in the chat. But tell us about your journey. How did you get started on the piano? Where did it start for you?
It started when I was 10 years old. I started taking my first piano lessons. When I was 8, I bugged my parents for a guitar. I'm just going to pull the ears out for a second. I bugged my parents to get me a guitar because I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and like millions of other musicians around the world. And, or musicians today that were inspired by that one single performance. So I got a guitar. Finally, my dad came home with one and said, "Here's your bloody guitar." He was Irish. And I for a couple of years, I was, played that guitar like crazy. I still have it. And, basically learned to pick out melodies on it, and then I got the Mel B guitar book and started doing. But one night, I was about 10 years old, I'd made up a song, and I played it for my mom. And my mom said, "Oh, it's nice. I mean, the guitar's all right. But, it's not like a real instrument." So my apologies to all you guitarists out there. I think my mom eventually accepted it as a real instrument. I think that was probably when Steve Howe came along. But then I said, "Well, what's a real instrument to you?" She said, "Well, it's not like the piano." I said, "Well, we don't have a piano, do we?" And I'm the eldest, so I was able to get away with stuff like that if I was talking to my mom, not my dad. And so she said, "Well, if I get you piano lessons, would you like to try it?" And I said, "For sure." So I started piano lessons when I was 10. Yeah.
That's amazing. And, you are a rock piano player.
Yeah.
But you started with classical.
Well, yeah, I did, because I started taking the Royal Conservatory from a local piano teacher, Mrs. Sesnick, and she that was my start on the piano. But I wanted to play. Again, I was hearing Beatles songs, I'll give you an example. There was a great song that I already knew that had a classical thing. It was Rolling Stones song. I haven't played it in a while, but. And that was Nicky Hopkins played that, and it's called She's a Rainbow. But I wanted to learn that, to play that on the piano. And then, of course, I heard, by the time I was 10, let me think about that for a second. It was the Revolver album. I started hearing more and more classical influences coming in. I kind of recognized that, like in Eleanor Rigby and songs like that. So I started with the classical lessons, and as you've heard me, you know, I still go through all my scales every single day, and
It's amazing.
that's just that's what I picked up at 10 years of age. But I didn't get really serious about the piano until mainly grade 8, the beginning of high school. The moment I saw Rick Wakeman in a cape, gold lame cape down to the ground with about 100 keyboards around him, the Mellotrons and the Mini Moogs, and you know the Steinway grand piano and the Hammond. He has a C3, I believe it was. But I saw a picture of him with the long blonde hair. I thought, wait a sec, you could be a keyboard player and a superhero. That's a great combination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winning. So, I mean, there's so much that we get to explore today, but one of the pieces I'm really excited to have you perform is called Key Dive.
Key dive. Yeah.
And for me, the first time I heard that, I was like, wow, that seems like it has a lot of classical influences.
Oh, it does.
But you were playing it at a Styx show.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the song, and we'd love to hear it.
Key Dive is on the Styx album from 2017 called The Mission. And it's a concept record, as you're allowed to do if you're in a progressive rock band from the 70s. And it's a story, it's a space mission. And as we were making the record, I'd been using that piece, Key Dive, more or less as a little intro piece, like I did with Lost at Sea there. That's from our latest album, Crash the Crown. Lost at Sea going to Come Sail Away. I was using Key Dive to segue into anything that was kind of A minorish. So Pieces of 8 was, I think, what I was using it for. And the guys in the band liked it, and the audio, it was going over well. So when we were making the record, it was suggested that we use that piece, and I'd named it Key Dive. That's the name of the ship that my dad served on. He was in the Royal Navy, and in the Second World War, it was called the Key Dive. Khediv. I love the fact that it alliterates like keys diving. So there's a bit of that goes on in the song as well. But anyway, they said, well, why don't we make that the name of the ship that we're using in the story? And I said, yeah, that sounds pretty great to me. And so Key Dive became the name of the capsule of the rocket, right? Let's see now. So the story is it's a mission to Mars, but then instead of coming back to Earth, they continue on to Pluto. The reason that Pluto was brought into it was because we were actually at NASA the day when a spacecraft, this is real life now I'm speaking about, not just rock fantasy. There was a spacecraft called the New Horizons that had just arrived at Pluto. It was in July, I think it was July 5th, 2014. Hopefully that's right. And so we wanted to kind of pull that into the story because, I remember why. Because they had discovered on that voyage, they discovered a fifth moon that heretofore they hadn't known that Pluto had, and they decided to name it Styx.
What?
Yeah, they did. STYX. And we met the fellow who suggested that name. Mark Showalter is his name. And I just thought that's a phenomenal thing. It's also got to make Pink Floyd extremely jealous.
Yes, that's amazing.
What do you got to do?
What are you gonna do?
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, back to Key Dive. It became a piece on that Styx album. And also when I told my dad what it was called, I'm lucky I got a chance to tell him. Because I would play it for him, and he'd say, "What's that called?" And I said, "Key Dive." And he'd go, "That's very appropriate."
That's amazing.
Where's my in-ear? And I'll play
It's
it for you
hiding.
right now. Here it is.
There you go.
I'll play it for you right now. Key Dive. Right? Shall I?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
That was incredible. Thank you. That was such an incredible piece. It's so exciting.
Thanks. It's funny when I'm playing it, especially that middle section where there's kind of a thirds in the left hand, and it feels like to my mind it's the ship rocking, you know. Undulating with the waves, and I guess that could happen on a spacecraft as well. I'll let you know once I get on one. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into some iconic Gowan pieces,
Okay.
I would love for you to take us on like a little journey.
Okay.
How do we get from classical all the way through to where you had your first hits? Take us a little trip.
Sure. Okay. So after I'd finished at the conservatory, I was like 19. I went all the way through. They have a thing called an ARCT at the Royal Conservatory in Toronto, and I got it in piano performance, not teaching. So remember when we were talking about doing this, I said, yeah, I have no teaching genes in me. I'm just going to pull these in-ears up a little bit. There we are. I have no real teaching genes like you have. But I, so I went into the performance aspect of it. But I discovered really early on when I was listening to, again, I'll go back to Rick Wakeman for a second. We didn't really get a chance. But I remember him playing phrases like, Heart of the Sun. Oh, yeah. That's such a rock thing, but it's totally based in classical music. Oh, I should also mention both Wakeman and Elton John studied at the Royal Academy. Well, the Canadian equivalent is the Royal Conservatory. If you get the word royal,
it's classical.
The Queen has said it's okay.
Yes.
So, or the King, I guess now. So, but I began to kind of stitch together rock piano. I think to my observation, it actually precedes the rock era.
Interesting.
Yeah, because when I started learning some Beethoven stuff, and I remember learning a very simple version of the Fifth Symphony, you know, I thought that's got rock all over it, you know. Yeah. You know, and then I listened to more Beethoven pieces, like that's got like the Pathétique, which has got this big section in it that goes, Well, you can hear elements of that, like even in Elton John's Funeral for a Friend, So I began to kind of stitch that into the whole rock fabric because the approach of it was like that. And then the next style of music that struck me to have that same intensity or that same, not intensity, but that same attitude, that same spirit was when I started learning a few ragtime pieces. I got into Scott Joplin and, Scott Joplin always said you had to play rags slowly. I went to the house in St. Louis that he lived in for a little while. Wow. And some of his actual pianos were there. So that, again, now it's become very Americanized, almost like an Americana has come into it. But Scott Joplin was very much a classical piano player who kind of helped to, if he didn't invent ragtime, I would say that he certainly perfected it, and took it to its farthest degree. And then there was a piece that a fellow who was a fellow named John Darch came into the piano store where I was working at part-time one day, and he asked, "Do you play any ragtime?" I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to learn the Maple Leaf Rag." But he told me about this piece called King Chanticleer, the King Chanticleer Rag. A chanticleer is a rooster. So anyway, I said, I've never heard the piece, never heard of it or anything. He brought me in an album, and it was such a fast piece that the only way to learn it, and there was no sheet music I could find for it or anything, the only way to learn it was to put it on my record player at home, that you could slow it down from 33 all the way down to 16. Wow. So it was super slow, and so even though he's playing up here, it would sound like, and I just note by note, and then it's a great piece, and I've used it as a showpiece for many years. I spin the piano around the other way. It's that kind of a piece, right? And it gets faster and faster as it goes along. So again, I found that had a lot of rock sensibility. But again, listening to the Beatles, when Lady Madonna particularly, that mixed with the fact that by that point they were doing they were doing pieces like, I just started to feel that this is all tying together. And then Paul McCartney would always talk about this guy, Little Richard, who was I was born in 56, so I wasn't really familiar with him. But when I went back and listened to him, I was like, oh, there's where all that, and all that, all that stuff comes from. And I got deep into that, So that, that pretty much encapsulated everything that would unfold in the 70s when the progressive rock era came in, and then I really fell deep in love with Yes and Genesis and Jethro Tull and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I think I really like the Guess Who as well, actually, back because Burton Cummings. I was always trying to learn Albert Flasher. Do you know this piece?
No.
Anyway, that's a real barrel house boogie feel to it. So that was Burton Cummings, great one of the greatest vocalists ever, and then of course, Elton, and then Keith Emerson and Tony Banks, of Genesis, is just probably the most endlessly melodic keyboard player that I know of, and he, how the piano and how keyboards began to take a much more significant role, let's call it that, as rock got more and more progressive, and then, as I think I've mentioned to you before, that what happened so much in the 70s and what I couldn't get enough of and still can't, is just how inventive all those keyboard parts were that they came up with. Then there was a dynamic shift in how keyboards were approached in the 1980s.
Yes.
And funny enough, it was the guy who we toured with Yes a few years ago, and Jeff Downs was playing keyboards with them then, but he was in the Buggles, and they had a song right in early, I think it was 81 it came out, or their album came out in 79, but that's when, you could feel there was a shift in the way keyboards were approached for rock, and that's why I've said to you that video killed the radio star. That's why we got to do that. As those kinds of pieces began to become more choppy, and even Genesis with the, that whole thing, way of approaching it. Did that answer any of your questions?
Yeah, that was amazing. I just feel like we're on this beautiful journey, and it's so amazing how the piano was able to maintain some of its classical influence, but also become a rock star basically.
Yeah. Throughout
those eras, and then so we went through the 60s and the 70s, and then we moved into the 80s, and that's when your solo career really found its legs.
Yeah.
And we got a really cool song out of that, which we are going to tie in to a giveaway.
Oh, okay.
Which is very exciting.
Oh, that looks like a great book.
Look at this, friends. Can you guys see that? That is a signed comic of Gowan's A Criminal Mind. So this happened in the era of music videos taking the center stage, and you have a music video where you're literally turned into a comic book, a cartoon
character. Yes, it's
incredible.
The comic book we just brought out just a few years ago, because in the video of 1985, the kid in The Criminal Mind, he's reading a comic book in bed, and so they mocked up a comic book for the video. This one is taken literally from that video, almost frame by frame, and it's a young person in Winnipeg that was putting some fan art online, and it was so good that I contacted her and said, "Do you want to do a comic book of this? You know, instead of just throwing them up there and impressing me every day." And so Ilia St. Anne, she drew all the comic book there, and then Jan Callahan, she colored it, and yeah, it's a very popular little thing. In fact, the QR code that's on the front there, I think if you hold your phone up to that, it will play the video from 1985. And yes, we used a technique called rotoscope, and it's the first video that ever used that. Some people think it's the Aha video, but it's not. It's a Criminal Mind. It was a popular technique and a great way to kind of take people into an otherworldly idea of what a band is. That's kind of what the 80s was, just this elaborate life that we're all living in the television.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to give away a couple of these to our friends in the chat. So Gowan fans, speak up now. I'm going to be selecting at random, and we will send you a signed copy of the A Criminal Mind comic. So I'm looking for my winners. I'm watching this chat. All right, we've got Dawn in Saskatoon. So Dawn in Saskatoon, congratulations, fellow Canadian there.
Yep.
And then we've got Gauxcat, Geauxcat, as another winner. So you all need to email me at lisa@pianote.com. And I've given one away to our YouTube and one away to our members. And just to make it, we'll give another one away in a moment. If we have a little game plan, so if you win the game, then I'll give another one away. So it's really all on your shoulders.
Okay, I'll see what that is.
But
Saskatoon, actually, Styx played in Saskatoon last October, and I'm doing a solo show there on the 20th of August this year. So bring your comic book, and you can read along.
That's
with
amazing.
The Criminal Mind.
In Saskatoon.
Yeah, Saskatoon.
That's perfect. So, okay, so we've got A Criminal Mind, which is, I mean, it's an absolutely incredible song, and I think you're prepared to perform it for us.
You want to hear it?
I think we would all need to hear it.
I hear it, I guess. I mean, what can you do? Yeah, this is a song that, it's funny, when this became a hit, I remember, in the 80s, we were suddenly playing big shows, and I would never hear usually the third and fourth note of the song, because the moment it would start, that by the time I got to there, the screams would be so astounding. And it's just a simple melody on the piano, but it's amazing how, particularly any song that has a piano motif that starts it, it's amazing how quickly. It's the same with Come Sail Away. You get that far, and already people,
they're in.
They recognize it. So The Criminal Mind is similar to it in that fashion, but just a little darker. Yeah.
All right.
Hear it?
Let's roll.
All right. Let's get some Lindrum behind it.
You see, my hands are steady. You've seen my face before. Soon you can take your last look, and they'll close the door. I stand accused before you. I have no tears to cry, and you will never break me till the day I die. A criminal mind is all I've ever known. tried to reform me, but I'm made of cold stone. My criminal mind is all I've ever had. Ask one who's known me if I'm really so bad. I am. I spent my life behind these steel bars. I paid my debt in time, but being brought to justice, that was my only crime. I don't regret a single action. I'd do the same again. These prison walls secure me, and I'm numb to pain. A criminal mind is all I've ever known. They tried to reform me, but I'm made of cold stone. My criminal mind is all I've ever had. Ask one who's known me if I'm really so bad. I am. Yeah. Before you hand me over, before you read my sentence, I'd like to say a few words here in my own defense. Some people struggle daily. They struggle with their conscience till the end. I have no guilt to haunt me. I feel no wrong intent. A criminal mind is all I've ever known. Don't try to reform me, 'cause I'm made of cold stone. My criminal mind is all I ever had. Ask one who's known me if I'm really so bad. I am. Oh, I am. Oh, I am. I'm made of cold stone. Made of cold stone. I'm just like your prison walls. A criminal mind. criminal mind.
That was scary, kids.
Okay, so for those of you who love that song, we have a real treat for you coming up inside Pianote. We will have a full video on how to play A Criminal Mind as well as transcriptions. So make sure you are inside the Pianote members area because coming up, we're going to have some incredible videos from Gowan released there. So here's the deal.
Okay.
An anonymous little birdie suggested I should ask you about the Ormoncto story. I don't know.
It bears repeating. Yeah, okay. So the Ormoncto, New Brunswick.
Okay.
It's a town in New Brunswick. When I was starting in music, I'm going to have to get a little theatrical for this one. When I was starting in music, it was hard playing clubs. We played 6 nights a week for 5 years, from 1976 to 1981. The band I had was called Rheingold, named after a Wagner opera. And we played progressive rock in some very rough beer halls, if they weren't disco dancing places, some incredible rock clubs as well. But we were playing a club in Ormoncto, New Brunswick, our second year, so 1977, I believe it was. And it was a beer hall where they only served jugs of beer. That was all they served in the place. That was the only drink you could get. Bring me a jug. And it held about 300 people, and it was a square room, no pillars or anything, so good sight lines, but no one was interested in the band, despite the fact that we were dressed up as this wild theatrical performing bunch of circus animals. In fact, the opening piece we played was an original piece called Circus Overture. Something like that. Anyway, you hear it. So by the Wednesday night, we realized, we've played 3 nights and no one's really listening. They've got their backs to the band no matter what. And I'm coming out in a full kind of day glow, bright orange ringmaster's outfit, a big top hat and, platform boots. So I'm about, 6'8", and, I've got all the accoutrement that you need, but nothing was really attracting attention. But anyway, we finished the Wednesday night and still weren't going over great. But a fella came up, an Italian guy who spoke very broken English, and he said, I like your band. I like your band. And I said, thanks. He says, I'm in town. I've brought some animals with me here that I'm showing at the local plaza. I don't think he can even do that nowadays. But anyway, I said, oh, what do you got? And he says, I was kind of pretending to be interested. but he said, I got a lion, I got a cougar, I got a chimp. Okay, he said, I also got a jaguar. He says, you want to come see him maybe tomorrow afternoon? I said, yeah, definitely. I'll come and see those. So I went over to the shopping center the next day. A couple of guys from the band were with me. And I got to know the lion. I got to learn the fact that once a lion's been fed, they're not really that interested in you. The jaguar, he said, don't even go close because that's got a different temperament entirely. The cougar was about the size of a large dog, like a German Shepherd size thing. He was okay. The chimp was just amazing. He was a chimpanzee, just incredible, well, trained, etc. So I loved the afternoon. As I'm leaving, I start to feel kind of a cold coming on. I think my nose is running, and that's part of the story in a second. And he says, you want to maybe use the animals in your show tonight? And I said, what, a lion? A jaguar? He goes, no, not the jaguar. I said, okay, you mean the cougar and the chimp? This story shall be known as the lion, the cougar, and the chimp. And he said, yeah, you want to take him on stage? I said, well, how am I going to control this lion? If he goes, oh, don't worry. I have him chained to the truck that he was backing his truck up to the back. Like, imagine we're on the stage right now. So there's audience. You're the audience. We're on the stage. The barn doors here open straight onto the stage. So it was very fortuitous. There was a black curtain like that. So he fed the lion through on a chain, but he was actually chained to the truck. But in the audience, you couldn't see that. It just looked like I was holding his leash. And the cougar's here. Now, the other guys in the band did say to me, "You're not bringing that lion on stage." And I said, "Of course not," but we did. Anyway, so the show starts, and I start with a very affected accent of something like, "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight you're going to see things you never thought you'd see, hear things you'd never thought." Okay, I've been doing that intro for 3 nights in a row to absolutely no response whatsoever. So I come out, and the place is loud as hell. There's a big din of clanking of glasses and guys yelling at each other, and this and that. And spotlight hits me. Spotlight hits me, and I'm standing there holding cougar in this hand, lion, full-size lion in this hand, a chain. And here I'll continue it sitting down. And the chimp is sitting in front of me, the chimpanzee, and he's got his stage outfit on, very cute. And okay, now you see these? Can you see these trusses beside us at all? Are they in the shot? Yeah. Okay, just keep that in mind. The lighting trusses. Okay, like so. We had those types of things in front of the stage, and suddenly, again, as I'm doing my little speech, I can feel my nose is. I think I've caught a cold. As it turns out, I was very allergic to cats for quite a period, and it kicked in big time with the lion and the cougar. Well, as I'm doing my speech, I sneezed. And the cougar, everything was fine up until that moment, but when I sneezed, the cougar just ever so slightly pulled itself to the right. And we had a set of Taurus bass pedals. Those are a Moog type of pedal that you had on the floor. Our bass player, Jerry, would use those, to add this bottom end. Well, the moment that the cougar stepped on the Taurus bass pedals, the PA kicked in, and this low, very loud sound of it was like through the PA. The moment that happened and the lion sensed, things are going a bit awry, he kind of just suddenly came almost awake and roared so loud that it drowned out the PA. In fact, it rattled my clothes. I remember kind of like this kind of thing going on. And suddenly, as he roared, the audience actually, this is about 300 people, and by the way, it was dead silent. There was no clinking of glasses, no conversation, nothing. It was a mausoleum of silence. The whole audience, when the lion went, and I saw the whole audience went back like that. The whole thing, it was like, there's nowhere to go. He's going to eat you all. And the fella, the animal trainer, I wish I remembered his name. He pokes his head through the drapes and takes Bessie or whatever her name was. His name, no, it wasn't Bessie then, it was something else, Billy, and yanks him back into the truck. So he disappears behind the curtain. Well, at this moment, the chimp knows that everything's gone crazy. He runs up the the lighting trusses and over to the middle of the lights and starts doing this. And he's shaking, the whole lighting truss is shaking up and down. And the cougar, he's now really pulling, and he's kind of jumping up like a dog. And I'm like, God damn it. I'm trying to control this wild animal. And he projectile, you like to say shits?
You can, yeah.
The projectile shits across the stage, and it lands right. I used to perform on a white shag carpet. It's all over the carpet. It's absolutely all, and the keyboard. Well, at this point, okay, so cougar, time to let him go. And from where I am in the center of the stage, and the guys, the other 3 guys in the band are looking at me like, you are out of your mind. I'm about 20 years old at the time. I really got the audience attention. Well, I did the walk of shame over to the keyboard and I said, the Circus Overture. That's how it started, right? And but not only that, but I'm sitting in the cougar's crap, and it's on my keyboard, and it's everywhere on my new shag carpet. But the postscript, but the audience paid attention to us that night because they didn't know what was going to happen next, and we went over really well. The next night, I come out, do the same intro, go over to the piano and the Circus Overture, and we go into. But before I go, the moment I said the Circus Overture, a guy yells out as loud as the line. He's saying, "Hey, where's the animals?"
Oh my! You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
How does this even?
It's quite a it's quite a rock and roll tale. I've told it on the radio a couple of times.
That's amazing. Okay. Well, you all can thank Todd for that cue.
Oh, Todd
Yeah,
sent
I
that
got
in.
a
Yes,
little message
he asked
in,
the lion, the cougar, and the chimp.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
Todd enjoys that one.
That's a good story. Okay. All right. We're gonna play a game.
Oh,
Then we're gonna get another song.
okay.
Okay. So I'm just getting my game ready. So this is a really it's not a difficult game.
Oh,
So all
that's
you
good.
have to do is answer questions.
Yeah.
I'm getting my timer on for 60 seconds.
Okay. Oh, okay. That kind of thing. Rapid fire.
Yeah, a rapid fire. Okay, timer. 1 minute. I'm gonna ask you these questions.
Can you set it on simple?
It's on easy mode.
Okay.
And you just gotta answer them in 60 seconds, and then I'll give away another comic.
Hit me.
Okay, are you ready?
I think. Let me just do my little vocal warm up with the singio straw.
Singers know what's up.
Go ahead.
Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Acoustic or digital?
Ultimately acoustic.
Favorite city to play in?
Toronto.
Favorite Styx song to play?
Renegade.
Coffee or tea?
Both, but coffee if given the choice.
Favorite Gowan tune to play?
Oh, all of them.
Bach or Beethoven?
Beethoven.
Favorite key signature?
Yeah, good one. C sharp major.
Pineapple on pizza? Yes or no?
Yes.
Sitting
okay
or
with that.
standing to play keys?
Is that the wrong answer? Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Sitting or standing when you play?
I enjoy both. I can play probably a little bit better sitting, but standing, the audience seem to enjoy it more, and so do I.
Favorite piano player? 13 seconds.
Elton John.
Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Tour bus or hotel?
Tour bus.
Favorite piano? Already asked that one. Artist you want to work with?
Oh, definitely Paul McCartney. He's always calling.
Nailed it.
Oh,
You
got
nailed it. You got it. Okay. All right. I'm going to give away another Criminal Mind comic.
Did I win one?
You won one. You won one. Okay. So the winner of this next Criminal Mind comic is Sean, Arizona.
Sean in Arizona?
Sean in Arizona. Send an email. Lisa at Pianote. Okay.
Congratulations.
Okay, so now before we run out of time, we have another performance, and
Okay.
this one also has a really good story. So we're gonna give you like a quick
yes.
version of the story. We're gonna show you the video, and then we're gonna get a live performance of this.
great.
Can you believe it's almost been an hour?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us the story of how and why on earth a piano ended up on a pyramid.
Oh, yes. So it's a Mayan pyramid. So it's a pyramid in Mexico.
Okay.
It ended up on the pyramids because we were shooting the video for this song. Can I say the song title?
Yes.
Yeah, so Moonlight Desires. In 1987, we were shooting the video for that in Mexico, and we had come there with the express desire to shoot on the Mayan pyramids. And when we arrived, we were informed that we could shoot anywhere in Mexico, but anywhere but the pyramids. And it's because they didn't want any filming there. Today, if you go to all those sites, everyone's got their cell phones out. There are 1,000 cameras going off. But back in the 80s, when things were, it was the 1980s, by the way, not 1880s. Things were different. And anyway, so we were using other sites around Mexico and trying to keep one step ahead of this anthropological society back then. I don't know. It was all kind of mixed up. Eventually, it turned out to be totally fine. But I had a Steinway piano that I thought, wouldn't it look great if that piano was on the top of the pyramid and we could shoot up like this and I have all kinds of stuff going around with it. So the crew, Mexican guys, they were gung ho to do it. When I said, "Can we take the piano?" They wanted to do it. Now the steps on those pyramids are I'd say about 2 feet deep, each one, so they're perilous. But they went up there with the most gung-ho, as I said, attitude of wanting to do it. We got the piano up there. There was a fellow with an owl. We're back to the animals again. Oh my gosh. And he was an owl wrangler, so we had the owl sitting on the piano as I'm singing about the Moonlight Desires. it's the 80s, remember, so everything's fantastic and over the top. And suddenly we see the anthropological people coming with a couple of cop cars behind them. And we realized, oh, this is not good. So what we did the only thing you can do, which is run away. And so we ran away down the far side of the pyramid, the whole crew and everything, grabbing everything. Of course, the one thing that we left was a 9-foot Steinway grand piano sitting. So it was a bit of a dead giveaway. They had to, a crack team of detectives came and realized that there's been people up here. Oh, and they're probably doing some kind of music video. Oh, no. Yeah, so that's how that Steinway ended up on top of the pyramid. Maybe that's why I love playing Steinways. Yeah.
So, okay, now I'd seen the music video for Moonlight Desires.
Okay.
But having, like, now I know that story,
yeah.
It's a different experience. So, Jack, do we have, like, just 30 seconds to show of the video? Here we go.
Yeah, it's about halfway in, I think the piano shows up. Keep going. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I think it might be in this verse. Beautiful sight. Look at that. That is one super mullet.
Okay,
shoot.
you guys have to go watch the video.
John was dressed up as a Mayan priest, high priest, you know.
John Anderson of Yes.
John Anderson of Yes, and what an absolute thrill to have him. I told John, you know, he was kind of surprised how well our voices blended, and it was weird because I thought, well, I don't know why you're surprised. I've been singing along with you, like in my my bedroom down the basement. I remember getting close to the edge and singing along with John Anderson, like, you know, years. So and then to have him actually be on that song was pure magic.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you got a piano on a pyramid, and I mean, that's the perfect place to land this.
Sure.
I would love if you could end our show today with a performance of
Moonlight Desire.
Moonlight Desire.
Okay, I'll be happy to if I just get one more sip of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so you know, everybody in the chat is so thankful for you being here today.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm grateful for you being here because
The audience.
it would be lonely without you. It would just be me looking at a camera. Although I wouldn't be, I'd have you here.
There'd be a couple of us here still.
And there's Daniel and Brendan and Truman there, but you don't see them if they're not here.
It's not the same.
All right, so Moonlight Desires.
Yeah, let's do this.
Here we go. Let's go to the top of a Mayan pyramid and make our dreams happen.
Ways to take hold of my thoughts, overriding my senses. Lock your sights dead in line with my heart. Share your powers, you stir my soul and wet my hunger and weave that spell that pulls me under. Oh, these moonlight desires haunt me. They want me, they want me. These moonlight desires haunt me. You're sending secret fires burning inside me unknown, raging on, never make them dance for us to see the men break their chains and give them freedom. Oh, these moonlight desires haunt me. They want me, they want me. These moonlight desires haunt me. You're sending a wave over my mind, and I fall to it blind. You say, trust me. Stir my soul and whet my hunger and weave that spell that pulls me under. Is that you, John? These moonlight desires haunt me. They want me, they want me. These moonlight desires haunt me. You're sending a wave over my mind. Moonlight desires. The secret finds hurt me. Oh, these moonlight desires haunt me. They want me, they want me. These moonlight desires haunt me. You're sending a wave over my mind. Moonlight desires, yeah. Yeah. Moonlight desires. These moonlight desires. Oh yeah. And then the lion roared.
Thank you so much for being here
Yeah.
today. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We've got lots coming from Gowan inside the Pianote members area. So if you do not already have your membership, grab the free trial below this video. Come hang out with us there. It's all the fun. Thanks again for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Just great to be here.
We'll see you all around.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa.
friends.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in.